Hey folks, I wanted to do another hiking tour with the drone. And the last time I published some videos on this, it was really all the leaves were still off. I mean, they were just barely starting to bud out. And so it was looking much more like winter back then than now. That's just a few weeks ago. And so now everything is green and it's all new growth on the trees. And which makes it really pretty. And it's early in the morning, not that early, but probably around 8 o'clock or 8:30 or something like that. And it's 51 degrees outside, so I've got my pullover on with my heavy cotton t-shirt underneath that, and so this is going to be a nice little hike. It's going to end up being about I would say uh, maybe 17, 18 minutes of the normal version of this thing. Reason I say normal, I've got some outtakes at the end of this video, or at the end of the hike, I should say. I had four bloopers occur during this hike. No crashes or anything like that with the drone, but had some difficulties when the drone lost track of me, and then I had to manually get it out of the bind that was in, and I'm still not that good at it. I need some more practice on manually flying the drone and so forth. But anyway, you can see all the ground cover down here, and drone's doing a great job following me. The bloopers won't occur for some time now until they four of them almost in a row. And I don't know whether the drone was getting tired or what, but it got through some dicey sections, and so I had to deal with it. Now, this trail, I did this in two videos. The last time I run out one part of the trail in the first video, and then another part of the trail in the second video. And this hike is going to be through all of them. By the way, this thing didn't go follow me; it went around the tree, and now it's coming towards me. So uh, anyway, this hike is going to be around the entire trail except for the backyard part. Um, but all this part in the woods, I'm gonna walk every part of the trail, the new part and the old part, and it it'll take about 18 minutes. Normally, it takes me about 35 minutes to walk around it twice, plus the backyard part. Um, and so that ends up being a 30 or 35-minute workout, which is perfect for my Apple Watch fitness program. It classifies that as a full workout for the day. Gives me full credit. Now you see these leaves that we're passing by. The drone can see these leaves a lot better. So I think the reason it doesn't crash this time is because it's not twigs that it's having to see, which it really can't, small twigs that is, but it can see the leaves on the twigs. And so now that the leaves are out, it does a better job of obstacle avoidance, so it doesn't crash, but it does get stuck. It gets to the point where it either loses me or it says, I'm not going any further. I don't know how to get out of this situation. And I have to kind of manually get it out. We sure went close to that tree, but it's doing a good job at this point. Um, I do better in afternoon walks in terms of my steadiness and stability. This one was an early morning walk, and I used to do that a lot a long time ago, but now I do most of my walks in the afternoon. But this one I wanted to be sure that I did it while it was cool outside because it'll probably be up to in the 70s later today. And so I'm wondering what it's going to do here. And I see that it does indeed follow me. And it backs up a little bit. It sees something, backs up, sees me going ahead. And so it braves its way on in here and catches up with me. Pretty intelligent drone here. And this is going up the hill to the first ridge. And so I'll call it the first ridge and the other one the second ridge, the one further out. And we won't walk down the first ridge this time. We'll just walk just past it. getting onto the second ridge. So this section of the hike is uh, I named all these trails at one point, and I forget what the names are. I'll have to get them back. I wanted to, as the boys grew older and came hiking with me, I wanted them to be able to understand the names. That would make it more interesting for them. You know, we're going down the upper ridge, or we're going uh, whatever it's called, the creek side, or the high road, or the low road, or whatever. So I've got a few names for it. I'll have to get that list back out and practice them again. But now we just passed the ridge, the first ridge, and now we're walking on towards uh, the second ridge, and the valley is off to the right of me right now. The valley goes down from here, so this first uphill walk really you can't notice the ridges, but once we get up here and turn right, you'll see that we're on a ridge, and the hill kind of goes down on either side of the trail once we're there. And I haven't had to look around once. The drain has been following me. I do glance down at the monitor every once in a while just to make sure everything's okay. And uh, so you can see moving down to the left and then moving down to the right. Now, I love this ground cover. And you can see I've walked on this trail enough to keep the ground cover off the main part of the trail. But that ground cover comes up and just covers everything in these big leaves. That's as high as they grow, by the way. And then they come back every year. They'll be gone summertime. They'll finally wither away, and but they'll be back again the following spring. So they're kind of the first things that come out during the spring. You can see all these leaves are still just new on the trees. They're very fragile and new. If we had a freeze right now, it would damage all these leaves, but I don't think we're going to have one. Boy, we sure did have some snow this year, though. We had about 8 or 9 inches of snow, and I was watching all the deer run through these trails from the house, and they were just streaking through and just having the best time running through all that snow. A big change for the deer. All right, we're going to be coming up on the first blooper here as we're going down this hill, down to the bottom of this valley, back up to the ridge, the first ridge that is. And so what you're going to see me do is I'm going to cut out that part of the blooper, and we're going to put it at the end of the walk here. So all four bloopers are going to come at the end, and there'll be a transition from where the blooper started to where I kind of resolved it. And so you won't have to sit through the bloopers. You can skip all those, but they may be a little interesting at the end. And so you can watch those if you want. So what happens is this drone kind of gets caught. It's up high right now, so you see a lot of leaves in front of it. It's going down a little bit, but then it's not sure where to go, and it gets above and below a canopy of leaves. So right now, I pause the freeze frame right here, and there we pick it up again. So I've resolved the situation, but that took me, several minutes to do. So now I'm going back up the, the first ridge to get back up on top of it. And this is the trail I cut last year with my bush hog and tractor, uh, which, by the way, that tractor will cut uh, trees is about 1.5 inches thick. Now look at one above that one and didn't get stuck. Um, I still think I want to cut some more limbs down now that I can see them well with the new growth and all that, and make it where it's a smoother thing where the drone doesn't get quite as tangled up uh, as it has a few times. Uh, and all this new growth is fast growth. I mean, the twigs are all getting longer and so forth. But this is the first ridge, and this is one of my favorite parts of the trail. It's got a nice canopy, a nice wide road, so to speak, going through here. And you can see the old dead leaves on here. When I do clean these trails up with my lawnmower, it brushes those trails pretty clean by blowing all the leaves off to one side or the other. And actually a fun time doing that. But we're going uphill. So the ridge itself heads downhill, but the topmost part of this area was that second ridge when we got up to the top of it. And and that's about level with the highest point on my own property uh, out towards the street. I'll try to remember to show you that when I get to the end of this hike. But we're coming up on the crossroads here between where we turned right to go to the second ridge and turn left to go back down towards the creek. And so I'll turn left here in just a minute, heading down towards the creek. I love the way the sunshine rays come through here. Uh, Now you can see me kind of slowing down. I want to make sure this drone follows me because I go behind the tree. And now is it going to go straight there or no? It goes to the around the trees. So I'm not sure what caused it to do that. It could have lost me at that point, but it didn't. It sees me and comes on around. You see me stumbling around there. By the way, I just so you'll know, I've got vertigo. I'm not drunk. It's not. I don't drink early in the morning, nor at night, nor ever for that matter. But I just am unsteady on my feet. I'll tell you the story about my vertigo. Worst part of it, which was about 5 years ago, when I had episodes that would last 4 to 12 hours, where I couldn't move. I was just laying down on the floor and the world was spinning around me. But now it's just a mild case of vertigo that never goes away. And that all has to do with the inner ear problem. But okay, uh, we're going down the towards the creek, away from the ridge, and so we've made that big circle and gone across both ridges, and we're heading back towards where we've already been. We've already come through here once and made it successfully through here, and now this time I'm gonna. So we've ran into one blooper already. We're about to come up on another one. This is where the waterfall is. It's got a bunch of rocks down in that creek right there. It's a very deep one right there. So now I stop, and the drone's kind of getting confused, and it's gonna go bonkers here, and you'll see that when you get to see the bloopers. So now I've prepared the situation, and I'm back walking again. So lots of little twigs coming out and leaves. They can trip up that drone a little bit, at least to cause it to stop uh, and try to figure out what it needs to do. It goes low here, and I love how sometimes it goes high and sometimes it goes low. It makes for more interesting video when we do this. Okay, we're about to come up on our third blooper here, and it's at this little cedar tree right here. So for some reason, it stops right here, and I don't know why. And then I stop and try to figure out what is going on. I've got this paused right now, uh, and now I have pulled myself through this particular scenario. So you'll want to go back and watch those bloopers. There's 4 of them, so we've got one more to come up on. So um, drone's doing okay now. And by the way, the drone is I've never had to touch the drone. I just simply had to manually fly it out of its situation that it was in. It got confused, and then I demonstrated my uh, uh, poor flight ability. I'm not a good pilot at this point. Maybe I'll get better at that. And I love this section right here with the creek on the right and all the ground cover and the daffodils blooming up and so forth. I wish there were more dogwood trees in here, but we've only got a few left in our yard. We used to have quite a few more, but they seem to have been dying out. One of them was damaged by what I call Hurricane Elvis, which occurred back in 2005, and we had some straight line, 100-mile-an-hour winds come through here, and it had 4 trees fall on top of this house, and a lot of things like that. Now we're about to come up on this next blooper, and maybe I caused it by making this turn and go around the tree. I thought it might be too crowded to go between that tree and all the leaves up there. So now I'm noticing that the drone is not following me. And I correct the situation, and now we're going back across the bridge, getting close to the end of the hike here. And now you see me looking up. I'm looking up ahead, and I do that a few times to see where the limbs are, because I know some of these limbs go across the trail, and I want the drone to go below them, and it does. I didn't have to tell it to do that. It's doing it, and I love how it stays low as I'm walking up the hill. Stays low below me, and then once you get on a straight line, it seems to climb back up again uh, above you, and from that perspective. This is kind of tricky. So the drone does a good job of getting through here. Now this trail right here was on the side of a hill, and I had to cut a bench into that trail. You can see where I've cut that down. I did that a number of years ago, but that gives me a nice flat trail to walk on. It's kind of narrow, but it works. It works well. Okay, we're going to come up next to what I call the crossroads. There's the high road and the low road. We came down that road up to the left there, and now we're going to go back up a different way than we came down. This is Creekside, and the drone did get on another time. The drone got stuck going past these trees. I actually didn't get stuck. It wouldn't go through these trees I'm fixing to walk through. It ended up going around it, which really surprised me on its own. I didn't have to do anything. It went around that tree just to the right there. But this one's going to make it through this time. Now it's having to go low to stay below those limbs. And this is going to be a pretty steep hill going back up. So it's staying low behind me. And this little section right here is where I store my gravel on the right side. And just to the left, there's a spot where I can put dirt. So I get dump trucks full of gravel and dirt, and truck them all down with my tractor down this trail here. You can't drive a dump truck down here, but I use my tractor to store that stuff. And that's how I refurbish the roads and so forth, is with the gravel and everything. I'll be ordering some more here before it gets too hot this summer. All right, we're almost to the end of this hike. So right up here, I'm going to land the drone. But I just pause it right here, and when I get ready to turn off the video. So once you see that pole stop swinging, now I've got it paused. And the next thing you see is going to be a transition into our first blooper reel. And I've got it paused for quite a bit. Okay, here we are. You can see the drone got in between some leaves below and the leaves in front and the leaves. And so it's trying to figure out how to follow me now, and it can't because I'm almost directly below it. So I'm having to move it manually, getting it down here, and still it's not out of the trouble. It's so I'm trying to steer it around, and I can't remember, do I push up or push down to get it to go? How do I make it go forward and left and right? And I think it's following me now, but it turns out it's not. It's not moving. So it's still stuck. And so I'm looking back thinking, what am I going to do? I've got to get it through all this. And I go left when I meant to go right and all that. It gets kind of confusing because as you're looking at it, you're looking at it backwards from the way the camera is. And so you've got to think backwards. It's kind of like a dentist having to look into a mirror as he's moving his, tools around. He has to go the opposite way the mirror says. So it's kind of like that. But see, it's still not following me. So I'm still having to get it out of this situation. So and it may be because of the haze with the sun that's causing it to either lose me or be unsure about things. But I'm having to go up and down to get under the canopy of branches and leaves. I just fly through there, and now I'm gonna make sure it sees me. The sun's not causing a problem now, and so it follows me, and, that was it. All right, so this is the next blooper reel. So this, you can see how it's lost sight of me, and it backs up into. This is actually on top of the waterfall. It's just standing there, and it doesn't know have a clue as to where I am. I'm watching it now, trying to figure out how to move it around. And I think the camera's pointing to me, but it's actually pointing the other way. And I'm looking at the drone, but not at the picture. And I finally realize it and say, oh gosh, I need to turn this thing around. That's the waterfall. You can't really see the bottom of it here, but maybe you can in just a minute. But yeah, see those big rocks and how that water's falling through there. When it comes a big storm, that thing is just gushing through there. So now I finally realized the camera needs to be turned around and pointing towards me. And now I look down and say, oh, yep, it can see me now. So I can make sure it's following me and have it pick up on that. And then I'll be able to turn around and just start moving on. You have to draw a little square around it to make sure it picks you up again. So there I go. And that's the end of that blooper. All right, so here comes another one. This is the third blooper. And notice how it went right past that cedar tree. And I'm trying to figure out why I didn't cause it to do that, but now I'm trying to get it out of the situation, and I'm not quite sure how to do it. And I need to move it to the left, but I'm probably pushing to the right there and thinking, good grief, get yourself together. And now I'm going up a little bit, seeing if there's a way to get through that set of leaves right there. I don't think there is. And see, I'm turning it to the right, and I should be turning it back to the left. And oh, and no, and there's when it's in the trace mode, it won't go sideways. So I have to take it out of trace mode. Now I need to go through these two trees, which is where I walked, but I got to get it angled just right. And it's going a little bit too fast. I don't know how to move slowly. And so I'm going to point it right towards the middle of that. And looks like I can get through, but now I need to kind of make sure it's steered right. And now I'm past the trees. And so now I can get it to find me again. And once you see me centered up in the picture, you know that he's looking at me, right? She, the drone, or whatever is looking at me. So I should be good to go now. And I'll turn around and move on, and it'll start following me. So this is the fourth blooper now. We get to the end of this trail. All right, we're close to the bridge here, and I walked up towards the left side of the tree. Normally I would have gone to the right side, and it's just refusing to go. So I move it on through here and get it up close, and I think it's going to follow me, but all it does is kind of watch me. It's not moving towards me, so I need to move the drone up closer to me to where it knows it's got a good clear sight of me, and there we go. So it's looking straight at me, very close, and so I'm past all the branches now. So I try to draw the circle around me or the square around me, and it should follow me now, so that's fine. So that's the end of all the bloopers, the end of all this recording. And folks, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.